You want me to pan across when you start? Okay. I do this all the time. Do you want me to pan across to everyone? Do you want me to pan across to everybody?
It's got the slow pan action going as well, very impressive.
Can I have your attention, please, everybody? Sorry to interrupt the networking. I promise you we'll give you a networking chance after the event as well. My name is Atula Bogada. I'm the co-organizer in charge of events and partnership at Melbourne Silicon Beach. Melbourne Silicon Beach is, I know some of you are new to it because you found us through Eventbrite or Facebook, so I'll give a small introduction. Melbourne Silicon Beach is Melbourne's second largest tech startup community on Meetup, and it is part of a nationwide network of communities. There's one in Sydney, Brisbane, Gold Coast, Perth. There was one in Adelaide, but it folded up. We are going to restart it with the money we earn from this event, so you guys are part of that. Not only Adelaide, there are a few capital cities that there aren't Silicon Beaches. Adelaide, Hobart and Canberra will be started with the money that you guys spent today. So give yourself a round of applause. And thanks to Jordan as well for coming and pitching this event to us. And he's a good salesman. He pitched an event and I said yes, so here we are. So, and Silicon Beach, we have 7,888 members at the moment. It's the largest Silicon Beach in the country. The Sydney one, which is older than us, has only about 4,000 members. So, and we have already moving into the regional areas. We have started one in Geelong, Ballarat and Launceston. So, and our idea is next month, in the next new financial year, starting next month, to form a non-for-profit company called Silicon Beach Australia, and have these connected communities around the country, which would be the world's alternative to Silicon Valley. That's our dream. So that any of you not members of Silicon Beach, just go to meetup.com/Melbourne-Silicon-Beach. I think if you Google Melbourne Silicon Beach, it will come up. So, and we have 90-second pitches. You can come and pitch your startup for 90 seconds in front of people. You can watch the last month's June thing is on the July page. And we also have recently started a publication on Medium. So medium.com/Silicon News is our publication online, and why it's really special is you can publish yourself, because I'm the lead editor of this, but I don't have any journalism experience, or I don't know anything about editing, so I'm the editor. So I have given you the power. You can publish whatever you want with your videos and everything. It's quite good. Medium is a very good publication, so make use of it. Today, what you learn about setting your startup, you can immediately put into practice here. And we also have a podcast, Silicon Beach Radio. It's run by volunteers. SiliconBeachRadio.com. And I need to acknowledge this space, which is run by Blockchain Center. It used to be called the Bitcoin Center, but they changed the name because people didn't like the word Bitcoin. I don't know why. So anyway, blockchain is the technology behind Bitcoin. So if you use in your startup, if you use the blockchain technology, they are setting up an accelerator. They can actually fund your startup. So come and check this place out on any Monday. They actually have free co-working, free Monday. Everyone welcome. You need to go to blockchaincenter.com.au and put in your details and they'll contact you. And these are the prices, but you can try it free any Monday. So with that, I'm not going to take any more time. Thanks for your patience. Jordan has arrived, and I'll introduce Jordan to you, and you can introduce yourself and take it away, Jordan.
Thank you. How are you doing, guys? Thank you. We might take the website down. I don't want anything.
Okay,
kind of
distracting.
taking the
That's
guys
good.
off. How's everyone doing? Good. Getting into the week after the long weekend. Getting back into it. Cool. Awesome. So guys, tonight I've got a number of things that I'd like to share with you, but first off, before I start, I'd like to thank Athula for having me here and supporting me in my journey, sharing this message with you guys. Silicon Beach, I think, is a fantastic community, so round of applause to you, Athula, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you everyone here. I'm sure that you guys have got better things to do than be here on a cold night. I'm sure you've all got families and friends to see, so I appreciate you all coming here. Obviously keen to work on yourselves, learn sales for your businesses and maybe for your own investments. So thank you to everyone here, round of applause. So just by a show of hands, who is here because they want to learn about sales or improve sales skill? Who's here because of that? Cool, okay. Who's here because they're interested in capital raising? Interesting, okay. We've got a few tech ideas, tech entrepreneurs. Yeah, love it, awesome, fantastic. So tonight, my hope is that I can share what I've learned over the last 6 years as a sales rep, as a business owner, someone that's worked with over 1,000, 2,000 entrepreneurs, selling business courses, selling fitness programs to, pretty much selling anything possible over the last 6 years. I want to share with all of you what I've learned. And hopefully influence your business, influence what you're about, and also introduce you to a new way of sales. I think a lot of people don't like the concept of sales because they picture this hard closer, they picture this person that's trying to manipulate their way into your wallet, and we all know that that has died. So tonight, I'm going to teach you how to do that without having to be that person. And I think it all starts off with acknowledging that everybody has a salesperson in you. Everyone is a salesperson here. The minute you start saying, hey, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not that kind of hard closer, I'm not that kind of person that just throws products at people or cold calls and barges into people's time. The minute we start saying that to ourselves is the minute we start to back away and say, hey, I don't want to sell. I'm not that kind of person. In my last role as a human behavior facilitator, I used to help people with depression and anxiety. The number one reason people had anxiety was the minute they started to say, I'm not X, I'm not Y, I'm not successful. So every time they were around successful people, what happened? They got anxious. I'm not rich. Every time they're around rich people, they get anxious. I'm not a communicator, I'm not confident. Every time they get into a dating scenario, anxious. Who knows what I'm talking about here? Who's ever felt anxious? Come on, if we're all putting our hands down, it's okay, because I see it, I used to see it every single day. The minute you start to disown that is the minute you start to get nervous in front of people when you're selling. And I think that's totally cool because that's when we can start to improve on ourselves. The next part to it is once you own it, we need to get clear on our intention. So maybe we can get a bit of collaboration going on in here. Who has a business right now that they created out of passion, something they love? Let's get a bit of sharing. What's your business?
Engineering software.
Engineering software. And when did that start?
A year ago.
Year ago.
The idea started probably 5 years ago.
Great. Awesome. Awesome. And is it just you? Do you have a group of people?
So there's 3 of us in the business now.
Okay. So why did you start? Why did you start this particular business? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, I was passionate about solving the problem.
Yep.
So I worked in process improvement for an engineering firm and just
Yep.
looked at the alternatives they had for designing their computations and just thought it was universally shit.
Yep.
And went, someone needs to do it, and spent 4 years waiting for someone to do it. No one did, so I did it.
Great. Great. Who else? Who else has got some ideas here? Business that started from passion. Yep.
I'm selling sales, sailmaker. I'm selling sales.
Sales makers.
Yeah, I'm a sailmaker because I like to sail. So.
Yeah, great, awesome. You're like me then.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
How did that start, that business?
Huh?
How did that business start?
I started because I feel like I can. I'm from Indonesia. I'm based in Indonesia.
Yeah.
There's no sailing community in Indonesia, so
Yep,
I'm trying
yep.
to build a sailing.
Oh, sailing community.
Right.
Oh, you see, my mum went to sail straight away. So sailing is in yachts and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I like to sail long distance.
Yeah.
That's why I got into that market because I find somebody who can.
Right.
So we have a factory make a good product. So good.
What did you notice they both did? What did they start to tell me about? Did they tell me about their product or did they tell me about something else? Problem. Story. Why? Not product, not business, not how you're better or how much credibility you have and how you outdo your competitors. I want you to write this down. Selling to empower is different to selling to win. Those stories you've heard where the sales executive sits up the back, fires up the team in the morning and says, you got to do anything possible to hit target today. You got to do anything possible. If people can't afford it, do whatever it takes to get them over the line. All those stories where it's really unethical and the persuasion techniques you'd use on the phone, they're true. I used to be that. It's all true.
Can you repeat the statement?
Yes.
Selling. Can you repeat the statement you said?
Selling to win versus selling to empower. It's all true. And 90% of businesses out there, I truly believe, are in that mindset. All you have to look at is Facebook ads. All you have to look at is how people get on the phone. They get on the phone and they sound like someone else. They're trying to build rapport with you too quickly. They're trying to interrupt your day and say, hey, you need to listen to me. It doesn't matter if you're not interested, you need to listen to me. That's selling to win. That's not offering value. Right? The minute we step into selling to empower, you'll do, sorry, what was your name? Chris and
Rob.
you'll do what Chris and Rob do, and you'll start telling a story. You'll start telling why you actually started in the first place, which is what people want to hear. Is this making sense so far? Because when your intention aligns to your values, when your intention aligns to what's actually going on in here, and here, then you're believable. But the minute you've got something in here that might not be what you're selling or might not be what you're even about, and then you've got this thing going, hey, I need to win, and then you start communicating, people are going to pick up your inconsistency. People are really going to pick up your inconsistency. I remember one time I was selling to an executive coach. I was 18 years old. From my 5th sales appointment, this guy walks in. Suit jacket, very, very intense. Straight away. My intention was to help. Straight away my intention was to help. I was very new, I was shit scared. And the first thing that got in the way was, this person is more successful than me. This person's more successful than me. There is no way I can add value to this person's life. No way possible. In that appointment, what do you think I started to do? The minute I started talking to myself like that.
Anxious.
Anxious, exactly right. Disowned success, disowned experience, disowned anything I had to offer. And this executive coach walked out in 15 minutes saying, I'm not going to buy it. Which brings me to my next point. The minute you start to say, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not successful, I'm not rich, I'm not nervous, I'm not stressed. The minute you start to disown any trait about yourself is the minute you put yourself down here. Carl Jung used to say, very famous psychologist, the minute we start to own all the traits possible in our psyche is the minute we start to become our true self. And if you're not your true self, you'll start communicating like you've got to beat someone because deep down you're nervous, deep down you're shitting yourself. I know that's pretty much the harsh truth. That every client I saw with anxiety, every team I managed later down the track with sales, that was the problem. Now, how do you add value? You start owning everything. You start owning your own brilliance. You start owning everything about your business. with your products and services, who could educate their client on something they don't know? Who's got like 5 things that they could take their client through? Yeah.
I mean, a lot of what we do in terms of the conversations, a lot of the engineers don't actually know themselves. So part of the process for us is educating them on the
Yeah.
software you're using is doing it wrong.
Doing it wrong, interesting. Okay. And how would that benefit them by you educating them about that process?
So I think it just opens their minds up to the fact that they can do something better, they can do it faster, and they can just have a bit more trust in what they're doing. Because
Yeah.
for them, they just want to basically, they don't like doing it, they want to just own that component, just get it done quickly.
Okay, okay. What about you, Rob? What could you educate people on with your business?
I could tell them that by getting stuff from us, you're supporting the community in our safe community in our region.
Yep. Yep.
So we're adding the value to the market.
Okay, cool. Anyone else got some examples? Things that you could teach your clients, your prospects, before they'd even consider buying? Value you could add, yeah.
Most of my clients don't sit across the week, look after compliance documents.
Yep.
After we've discussed it, most of them sit back and say, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. Can you help?
Right. So you take them through a whole process on,
Partly, or else we put them onto a consultant who's an expert in that field.
yes,
And so, okay, here's somebody who can tell you about workplace health and safety, the process, the procedures.
yes,
But then we try to relate to with a tool that takes them from there.
yeah. I like it, I like it. The number one reason consumers aren't buying these days is because they don't know enough about you. They're not convinced that you actually have value. Now, value's not going to come from the details of the product. It's going to come from what you can teach them in the appointment. So when I was selling education, the number one thing I realised, and this is a true story, that executive coach actually came back 2 months later, and I found one thing through questioning that I could teach him. He knew nothing about the program. 10 minutes he bought. And he goes, wow, I did not know that about my business. I drew it out in the net straight away. He's like, yeah, you've got value to offer, so your program must be great. Signs up. So it's not the details, it's not all the facts, it's not everything that you've created in your business, it's what value you can offer as a salesperson. As you start to expand what's possible for your consumers, when they come to you, your customer's thinking, how can I expand what's possible in my life? If you're a personal trainer, you're trying to expand someone's vision on their fitness. With sailing, you're trying to expand what people would seem possible for that community. Same with engineering, right? The minute you can start to expand what people can see is when they buy. And I'd highly recommend that you start to look at an educative sales process, because that's how you're going to convince people that, hey, you've actually got value. But if you keep going on about your details, you keep going on about what you've done, they're going to go, I've heard this before. Does that make sense? Cool. Next thing's closing. Who likes closing here? Yeah. How do you close?
Depends on what the deal is.
Yep. Yep.
This is
Have you
sit
got,
there next
have
to
you got
that lady.
specific
Right in
things
front.
that you remember, or
Good. There.
specific statements, lines?
Mostly things like emotional questions around
Yep.
if something like value or impact causes
Yep.
business to do something.
Yep.
Yeah, basically impacts, consequences.
Impacts, consequences, cool, I like that. Anyone else? Yes?
The most important thing, don't forget to close the deal.
Yes.
Most people are trying to advise but not to close the deal.
Can you repeat that again? That was really good.
Don't forget to close the deal.
Don't forget to close the deal, but you said something even better after that.
Most people are trying to give advice
Yeah.
during the sales process, but
Yes.
not remember to actually put a price tag under it
Yes.
with the argument about
Yes.
the price tag and close the deal.
Love it, love it. A mentor of mine 2 years ago told me the number one reason salespeople lose deals is because they actually never ask for the business. They're never direct enough to actually ask and say, let's get you started. Jay Abraham says people are silently begging to be led, and this is the truth when it comes to closing. So I've always viewed sales as asking questions to find more information so you can add more value. Closing, you've got to take it out of sales. Closing and sales are two separate skills. Closing, I've always looked at it asking questions to bring something to an end. So I love what you were talking about before, emotional, logic. When those two meet, someone will try. Not advising. Like, I think that's so important, because the minute we start to advise and advise, people will just go the other way, go, no, I'm not going to buy now. So leading people to an outcome. Now, the best way that I've always found to lead someone to an outcome is to actually tell a story. Who's using social proof in their business right now? Social proof. Stories, yep. So there's two ways that you could approach this. I usually aim to seed probably about 10 social proof stories in one sales presentation. And it doesn't come at the end. Because your customer straight away will go, why are you telling me about these people now? Are you trying to close me? But if you see 10 different stories throughout the presentation, you bring up their names at the end, it's more believable. They go, oh yeah, you told me about them before, that makes sense. Because people want to go on the same journey as the people that have had the courage to buy. So if I started talking about, let's say, Rob bought with me, right? And I spoke about Rob at the start of the conversation, and I started to relate his journey with me to my prospect's journey, I can use how Rob bought to prime my prospect. Does that make sense? I can literally speak about how Rob made the decision. Then I can bring Chris into it as well. If I start seeding that, then I can take them on the whole journey. So I've found social proof and stories is usually the number one way to close. The next way I usually advise a lot of my clients, and we're working with a tech app doing this. They've got appointment setters and they go and see restaurants and what have you. And we're talking about how they can actually build logical pathways before they go in. So they will find out so much about the restaurant, so much about the business, so that when the objections come up, it's already covered. It's already covered. You're not trying to close over objections, you already know. So you go, yeah, but you told me this in the first one. Why wouldn't you do it? So I'd highly recommend before you go into an appointment, find out as much as you can about your customer. Who has first calls with people and then they book an appointment later? Who does that? Yep. Who does one-call approach? Just picks up the phone. No? You do? How do you find that goes?
It can be interesting.
Yeah. How so?
Well, you get a variety of people giving different types of responses.
Yeah.
Some are really quick and say no, thank you. Some are interested.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it boils down to how you present yourself.
Yes.
At the beginning.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up. That was literally my next thing. I started to realise after a while being in sales that the objections I would get on the phone were the objections I would have when I buy something. If you have an objection about speaking to your partner before you would buy something, your customers are going to have the same objection. And it'll hurt when they say it, and you won't know how to handle it. If you have an objection on money, you're always looking at the budget, always tweaking things. Every time your customer brings that up, it's going to burn. You're actually not going to know how to handle it. So I'd highly recommend for everyone here, go into sales appointments. I know this sounds like suicide, but literally put yourself in sales appointments once a month. Get sold to and actually start to see, what are my objections right now? How can I get better? Because the minute that you can own all objections and go, well, I just don't like this product, I just don't like this business, I don't respect the salesperson, I don't believe in the outcome, those aren't objections, those are just 4 reasons you wouldn't buy. Partner, money, time, all of that, those are objections. Those are signs that people haven't been persuaded, that people haven't actually listened. If you guys were to hit outcome, product, business, and yourself, and do that really well in the sales appointment, usually people are going to buy straight away. because all 4 bases are covered off.
Sorry, what was it?
Yourself, your business, the outcome of your product, and then your product. Usually last. Just the details, does it suit them, has it fit in with their lifestyle? Yeah? Usually those are the 4 things I always aim for. Which would bring me to my next point. The messenger. Who do you think the most important person in the sales conversation is? And I want honest answers here.
You are.
Who said that? Yes. Why?
Well, you are the one that's going to sell. You are the one that's going to control the whole scenario. You are the one that's going to dictate where things are going. You're the one who's going to convince that person. You're the one that's going to sell the benefits, the features, everything.
Yep.
So you need that person to buy into what you're saying.
Does anyone else have a different idea on who the most important person in the sales conversation is?
I think it's the client, because you have to first to sort of scan the client and then
Yeah.
come with the stories according to what the, like you said, you have to tell the stories,
Yeah.
but you don't just tell the stories, just stories. It has to be sort of like,
has to be relevant.
relevant to what their bodies and things
What that
are,
is.
and then you just have to play with the stories around answering the
Yeah.
question for them without them even sort of realizing
Yeah.
that, because at the end they won't have any questions.
won't have any questions.
Pretty much. I mean, they might have questions, but
They
you can
always
always
do,
say,
yeah.
like, remember,
Yes,
you
yeah.
are not the only one
I like
that
it.
bodies around there.
I like
but
it.
Might be you the
Yes.
most important, because but
So you're on the fence?
to me, yeah, so right now.
Who has a different idea? So we've got customer, we've got yourself. Who else would be the most important person in that conversation?
The outcome. Oh, we're talking person.
Person. Any other ideas?
Person who can sign the checkbook.
What did you say?
Person who can sign the checkbook.
That's a really good point, because guys, do you ask enough who's actually going to be making this decision? When I used to manage a team, my first ever gig as a sales manager, when I was managing a small team of 5, the number one thing my team would come back to me was they didn't buy because I had the wrong person on the phone. Why'd you ask? Don't feel guilty if you're going to ask. Who feels guilty going, who's going to make this decision? Be honest. Does anyone feel guilty? Or do you need your partner to make this decision? Because if you do, guys, you're just throwing things away. I've had literally 4 people on one call once. I'd say, get every single person on this call so that we can actually make a decision. I don't want to stretch this thing out. People will appreciate it. And usually when you have more people on the sales call, you increase your chances of closing, because everyone objection handles each other. I was a bit sneaky once, actually. I used to call off a headset, and I had 3 people on the phone, and I used to do this little technique. It was ethical. When I would finish, and I gave them all the details, and if I tried to objection handle everyone, 3 against 1, it just wasn't going to happen. So I'd say, cool, I'm going to go check on my next appointment. I'm going to let you guys discuss the details and see what you want to do, and then I'm going to come back later and we're going to talk about everything and get you started. So what I'd do is I'd put it on mute and I'd listen, and literally there would always be 1 or 2 people that really wanted to do it and 1 person that said no, and they would objection handle each other. So if you're ever selling to people who are married, people who have other decision makers, if you're selling to businesses of some sort, get them both on the phone, because you're going to increase your chances.
Always speak with the wife.
Sorry?
Always speak with the
Always speak with the wife. There's a stat, just hold that question. There's a stat, women make decisions, wives will make decisions 80% of the time. They are buying a lot faster today. Men always have to check with their wives. Actually, it just happened today. One guy said, I really want to have to check. I should have thought of that. You had a question?
Yeah, sorry, I've been in business-to-business sales, so there's comments about B2B sales. When selling to a group of executives at the top level,
Yes.
In respect, I disagree with you. What we used to do is we'd sell to each one individually
Yes.
first, and then get them in a room.
Yes.
We found if we got them in a room together,
Yes.
there would just be so many objections,
That's
we never
good
got
point.
anywhere. So you
Yeah.
sell to them all individually
Yeah.
first, so they come in already positive.
Yeah.
Then you can
I
sell
like
them
that. I like that for B2B sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So if you guys want to jot that down, if you're in B2B sales, that's probably a touch point process that you want to go with. If you're in B2C, it's probably going to be a very different game. But great point. I really do like that. And it's always going to differ. It's always going to differ based on the business that you're in. Whoever the decision makers are and how they actually go about communicating, if you can line that up in how they're going to make their decisions, then you're going to be able to win the game. One of the last points that I wanted to make super clear is how you see yourself is how your customer is going to see you.
Well, that's
I really want to drill that home because it's not spoken about in sales. Everyone's talking about how you can twist your words, how big you can be, what you can put on your website. I don't care about that stuff. Website's important, online's really, really important, right? But I care about how you look at yourself. What do you see when you get up in the morning? How do you feel when you go into each sales appointment? Are you feeling whole? Are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling fulfilled with what you're doing? Because if you are, you'll close. People want to know this. Now I'm speaking to, all kinds of audiences, and never once have I met someone that could convince me on a sales process that didn't involve who they really were. Their own personality, their own behavior, their own story. Because if we're closing off about ourselves, if we're trying to be someone we're not, we're trying to run a business that's not us, it's not going to work. We're going to get nervous. Our voice is going to go into the back of our throat. We're going to turn away. When the person objects, we go, oh, no, I don't want to pressure you. You don't have to do this. If you're sold, if you're really convinced on yourself, you'll push them.
Well, you don't even have to push because they feel that you are so honest.
That's it. That's it. How you see yourself is how your customer sees you. And that's something that's really going to stick, yes?
How do you know that?
How do I know?
Yeah, how do you come to understand?
I can give you a lot of examples. Who wants to hear some actual examples that have happened to me? Okay. So one day, this was probably 2 years ago, I'd had this massive fight with my parents. And I walked into work and I was trying to be super positive, but really inside it was killing me. I really upset them. And I get into this sales appointment with this lady who was very, what I would say, I in disc behavior style. Who knows disc? Yep. So she was very I. So I is influencer, very bubbly, always speaking, will just call you out on anything. And lovely lady. I'm in this appointment. She goes, Joy, what's the matter? Shit, she's called me out. How did she know that? And I'm trying to smile. I'm trying to smile, but literally that day I felt so crap. And I said, no, I'm fine. She goes, don't bullshit. Right? Another time, I was in an appointment with, it's typically females that will catch me out on it. 3 years ago, same thing. I used to sell soccer programs to mothers. That was my past business. And we were at a school in Frankston, and it was one of the principals there. Just called me out. She's like, you seem different today. What's the matter? She goes, you don't sound too excited about what you're doing here. I said, no. She goes, no. I said, do you want to be? She was actually questioning the deal that we had with the school. So my point is, guys, how you see yourself every day, how you're feeling about yourself is going to determine how your customers see you. Really look after you because you're the one who's going to convince people. Not your business, not what you've done, not your success. That's all in the past. My sales manager used to tell me, you're only as good as your last month. All those accolades that you achieve, they're great. But that's 2%. That just gets people to listen to you. So this making sense? Cool. Want to open it up to questions now, because I think we've gone well and truly over content limit. But what questions do we have around value-based selling, education-based selling, closing, human behaviour? Throw it all out.
Bit of a curveball is
Yes.
the sales approach you would take to an investor.
A sales approach I take to an investor.
You're trying to get money out of an investor.
So the research I've done and the people that I've watched, I've always had in-depth conversations about it. Relation-based selling. There's got to be some sort of relationship. So based on what I've heard, many investors are always being pitched 24/7. There's got to be some sort of relevance. There's got to be some sort of connection there before you actually go. So I'm probably not the best person to speak to about the process, but based on relationships, I do know one thing. When you go and approach someone, you have to have a reason. If it's your business the first time, it's probably not going to happen. When I would cold call, my reason was not to pitch my business. It was to talk about them, their outcome. Build a relationship. So the first thing I would say when I get on a cold call, I'd say, hey, I want to talk about the outcomes we can achieve, but first I want to learn about you because I could be wasting your time. Talk for 20 minutes, never met me in their whole life. So I'd recommend if you're going to investors, learn about them. Don't push an idea because then you're just going to be like everyone else. Does that make sense? Cool. Any other questions?
Principal buy. Principal buy. The soccer program.
Principal buy.
Did the principal buy that day?
She renewed. She renewed. Took another appointment, but
Nice.
yeah.
It's about sales for startups.
Yes.
When you get around when somebody says you're a startup, you've got no existing clients,
Yes.
I'm not prepared to risk on that. It's been those first few.
Yes.
You got any advice around getting around that objection?
Yes. So one of my last sales roles was working with a startup massage course provider. It was an RTO. They just started up. And the first thing, literally the first thing I would say to these people, we're new. We're really new. In fact, we've only got a small office, there's only 3 of us. And they're like, really? And I play on it. Please write this down. Anything can be a selling proposition if you make it a selling proposition. So I would say, hey, we've only got 3 people here. But you know how exciting it is? I come into work every day, these guys are my friends. You actually got to come down and check out the office. Like, oh, really? So the whole sales process was I'd pull them into the office, I'd show them around this fantastic facility that I'd built up in their mind. It wasn't a fantastic facility. But when they got there, they were so excited to meet the team. Because it was almost this culture we built. So with your startup, if you're afraid that you haven't got the results, the credibility, the clients to leverage off, just flip it. A lot of people, I don't know about you guys, but I actually like buying from startups. Because I know I get to connect with the salesperson, I get to connect with the founder. It's more personal, so I would just use it to your advantage.
So credibility is not important.
I don't believe credibility is. I think it's a way to get people over the line, but I don't think it's everything. Because, I mean, my sports coaching company, within 6 months, we were #1 in Victoria. We had the most schools. And principals would ask me, how long have you been doing this? 3 months, 4 months. What makes you different? And I'd say, well, #1, all our coaches are young. They're all under 18. #2, we're the newest. You got to use us. Yeah. No, why wouldn't you use us? We're the newest. I was so convinced on it because this is what I'm talking about. If you're convinced on yourself and what you're selling, you can sell it across. Tony Robbins always says the person with the more certainty will always win.
It's like the confidence, no?
It's the confidence.
Yeah, the know.
The knowing. I'll tell you right now, as a sales trainer, I'm new. I've been doing this for 8 months. I know my shit. Don't know everything, I'm still learning, but I'll be open about it. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you bullshit, because that's what the market does, guys. Please understand this. People are talking about credibility all the time. what I've done. You know, they've taken their phone around, showing you the beach, the cars. I'm sure you've seen it on Facebook. It's annoying. Tell them the truth and you'll ring. Transparency is massive.
But that does sell though.
Sorry.
No,
It does.
Because it's
Not anymore.
Yeah, but it's whether you want the first sale or a 10-year relationship with somebody.
There you go. That's a good point. I like that. I like that. But maybe elaborate a little bit more on that.
my point was that people like to buy because other people buy because they believe that other people think it's good, or they
Yeah.
believe in other people.
Awesome.
Well, business to business, it's repeat sales.
Yes.
So I've seen salespeople go in, sell, and it just burns, and they never go back. Whereas we went and sell, and we visualized somebody saying that's 10 years worth of revenue.
Yes.
So we view them as being the value of 10 years worth of revenue.
So what would you say is more important for B2B sales?
Truth, honesty, tell them the bad news.
Yeah. This is
don't
good.
lie,
This is good content, guys.
and build the relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. Credibility, I've always found, is just a little add-on. It just gives you a little bit more to stand on when you're in the appointment. But if you don't have it to stand on, build it in you. Stand on you. Hey, like I don't want to rely on my clients and what I've done. I want to rely on me. I'm the only one in that appointment. Sure, I can have some fancy pictures, like not to be a wanker or anything, but in 2015 I was named in the top 30 entrepreneurs in Australia. I don't talk about that much because I'm just not that kind of guy. It's up there if you want to look at it, but my content, what I talk about, what I sell here, I'm convinced on it. I don't need to talk about what I've done. If you want to know, you can ask me.
I agree 100% with business to business.
Yep.
However, the social media is
Yes.
such a strong
Yes.
influencer
Yes.
in that before people buy, now they review other people's comments about the product before they buy. And they review and they go to all these sites and say, okay, well, this one's saying it's good, this one's saying
Yeah.
it's good. Before they make up that one, they go through that process of buying.
You know what I like what you said? Before they go through that process and buy. So once we're on the phone and once we're speaking, it's different. But before the phone, they might need that extra push. Do you know what I mean? So I can see both sides here, which I like. If we were to just focus on sales instead of marketing, I would say credibility is going to play 2%. In your marketing, it's a different story. And I'm not going to talk about marketing tonight because that's a whole different game and I'm qualified to do.
I think B2B, it's more of this.
Yeah.
But B2C, it's more because
Yeah.
businesses they don't want to see flashy cars and this and that. When you talk business to business, it's like okay, let's cut that out and get down to
And what you'll find, credibility can also play out in how you present. I've had customers turn around to me and say, oh, you closing me, Jordan? I go, yeah. Do you like it? No, I'm serious. I go, do you like it? They go, oh, it doesn't feel like you're closing me. I go, do you like it? They said, yeah. Are you going to buy it? Yeah. It's professional. When I rock up, when they come in, cup of coffee's ready. I ask them before they come in, what do you like, tea or coffee? Coffee. Milk, no milk? Professional. That's credibility. Grungy little office in this little startup with, I'm not going to say they went into liquidation, but they, yeah, didn't go well. But that was one area. That was one area. Grungy little office, coffee was there. Used to buy it. Yes.
What's your thoughts around products out there that, as a sales technique, say it sells itself?
Products.
That sells itself. But you don't
That sells itself. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So I think products do sell themselves. But who's always there to sell the product? It could be a website that a human created. It could be Like, whether we like it or not, guys, your product sells itself, but it has to be on a website that someone typed out the copy, that someone spoke about, that someone stood on stage like Steve Jobs. Like every entrepreneur loves Steve Jobs because they've watched the YouTube videos. So they go to Apple. You go to the Apple website or you go into their store. That's a sales process. It's fantastic, it's professional. But never think it's just the product selling itself. That humans designed it. Things in your product can actually sell itself too.
Yeah, if I can interrupt there, when Jordan sent me an email through Meetup that you sent your web address and what you do, and you said you can do an event for us. And I went into your website, listened to a few of your YouTubes,
Yeah.
and I was already sold. That's why I said, let's meet here, because I have already decided we're having the event here.
Yeah.
So we met here, and I just said, okay, when can we have this? So it was already sold because I knew the value of it, and you didn't have to sell it at all. So it shows that
So
you're
social media did it for you.
Well, it's not really social media. I get sold all the time. People wanting to have events. It's what was behind the
You sound
content
like
in
an
the
easy
social.
guy. I'll come and see you after.
So I think a really good point there was value. Value is everything. You guys are providing value at the forefront of all of your presentations. You're going to sell. But where does value really come from? You have to see it in you first. Yes.
Sorry, I don't want to see
Yeah, no, this is
I'm
good.
keen and eager to learn. Because I believe I'm a songwriter, not the singer. That's right.
Sorry?
I believe I'm a songwriter, not the singer.
Yeah.
So for the question.
You come back.
I'll come back to it.
Write a new song.
Are there any other questions? Yes.
When you're having the sales discussion, how do you manage looking at objections and sort of coming soon type feature requests? In that we're here now as a startup, and it's obviously impressive for a lot of us. We'll have that now, but get on board earlier, for example.
Okay, so can you re-explain it? So
I guess you're talking with a client. Clients, in my experience, what a lot of them tend to do is get very excited about what they want it to do, and we'll start asking for my existing one does this, this, and this. Obviously, I try and navigate into the value of what we're doing today versus what our longer term plans.
what your longer term is.
Yeah.
Stay in the present, see the future. Stay in the present, because the biggest problem, and I've seen companies almost go down because of it. To explain the massage course place, what actually happened was when I had gotten there, they had just downsized. And the big reason they had downsized was a lot of the salespeople, how they would sell the courses was all about how students, when they finish, would have a job automatically. Because we had industry partners that didn't even talk about the content. So they're painting this huge vision. Nothing in the now, not what it's going to give them now, huge vision, people just like, I'm in, 100%. And when it didn't happen, cut off. If there was any doubt and they didn't feel like they were getting value then, cut off. So the business was refunding all its money. They were relying on government funding as well, because there was some of it that wasn't fee paid. And they had a big backlog of all this stuff to clean up financially, and it started to go down. So by the time I'd gotten there, we had to restructure the whole sales process. It was almost too late. So that was a big lesson for me. If you're painting too much of the future, people get too emotional. So over my research with sales, what I've always learned is when emotion meets logic, people will buy. As soon as people are moving into the future and going to the past, and they're all over the shop and they're basing their objections over past decisions they've made, I'm not an impulsive buyer. I've made bad decisions in the past, but I am going to do this. They're bouncing. Get them in the now. But see what could happen in the future. Does that make sense? Yeah. Cool. Yes.
It's about value, and in a sales conversation, is I might have what my interpretation of value is. And if the customer will say, yeah, from a sales technique, how do you know you're aligned with them?
Oh, this is a good question. Okay. Did everyone hear that? Okay, so how do you know if you're aligned to the customer based on the value you're giving? Yep. Okay. So this is where I'll switch and talk more about human behaviour, because this is something that I studied a lot about before I actually got into sales. So people are driven by values. If you want to search up more about values, go and research Dr. Demartini. He's a genius on this stuff. Who knows Dr. Demartini here? Genius, right? I highly recommend you go and look at this stuff. So people are driven by values. Now what values are? They are the things that are missing in people's lives. So people like to say, oh, you know, my value is love, my value is being warm, joyful. No, those are rules. Those are standards people want to live by. But what's missing in people's lives is what they speak about all the time, how they spend their time the most, what they're most knowledgeable about. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are missing it at that time, but in their perception, because at some point they didn't know anything about it and felt a lot of pain, that value has become big. So for example, with mothers, I know their kids are huge all the time. Not because their kids are there, but because of the past pain their kids have probably caused them. I know that women that come in and start talking about how great their relation is with their husbands, I know that that took a lot of work. Because they always talk about it. So I dig into that. Someone's business, if their business is so solid, I know it's not because it was easy. I know it's because it freaking challenged them. That's why they value it so much. If you built your business overnight, you wouldn't really value it that much. You go, ah, that was easy, I'll start another one. It's the truth. Who knows what I'm talking about here? Things that are hard, people value. Things that are easy, people go, yeah, I'll move on. That was easy. So to answer your question, whatever people have been challenged with the most, whatever people talk about the most, and whatever they're most informative over, that's how you provide value. That's how you start linking it. So what was your product? What are you selling?
SaaS system to retirement living industry.
Okay, so I would think about what does my customer need to know, and then link that to what's most important to them. So when I used to sell massage courses, I was spoken about it all night. If there was, let's say, a mother whose business was most important, they wanted to start up their own practice, I'd never speak about the course content. I would say, yep, the course content, XYZ, is going to help you in your business this way. Not about becoming a great massage therapist, a great business. If it was someone that was obsessed with getting fit, I'd speak about how the course would help them get fit. It's just it's as simple as that. Listening is what's going to get you the sale too. You've got to become a good listener.
So you actually tell them, sorry, can you say it again?
You're listening to what they're most informative over, and then you are linking what you have in terms of education to that. The minute you do that, you're in caring communication. The minute you start talking about your product too much, sorry?
Can kill the product, can kill the sales.
It kills the sales because you're in careless communication. That's when you're focused on your values too much. But then when you talk about your customer all the time, you go, how are you? Oh yeah, I can hear kids in the background, I've got kids too. When you're doing all that bullshit, what happens is you're in careful communication. You're focused on them all the time. And no one buys off, sorry to say it, bitch of a salesperson. You need to talk about you. Bitch of a salesperson. I used to point out people in my team that, you know, I listen to their calls, and half the call, they are talking about how great, how much they understand. I go, you're not a freaking counsellor. Talk about you, talk about the product. Link it to them, but don't sit back here and just let the customer dominate the conversation.
So if it's someone that wants to study, to do a course, but is not really sure about it, because they wanted to do a short way, like
no one's ever unsure. No one's ever unsure.
So then
I would ask them what they're scared of and what they're hoping to happen. No one's ever unsure about anything. The number one reason people are blocked from making decisions is fear, anxiety, or guilt. No one's ever unsure about anything. Number one thing I say when people are unsure, I know you're unsure, but if you could have everything the way you wanted and there was no barriers, what would it be? And they tell me straight away. Because they've got something blocking them. So never take, I'm unsure, I don't know if it's the right time. Ask them if everything was fine and you had no barriers, what would it be? And I'll tell you. Any other questions? I go off topic a lot, that's my personality style, I just start ranting. Yep, up that.
When you launch a new product,
yep,
and you want to steal customers from competitors,
yeah, love it.
Ethics and
okay, that's a good technique. There is a technique to that. Okay, so first it'd be the intention, not to steal customers from competitors. That's a strategy. I wouldn't go in there with that intention. I'd go in with the intention, how am I different and how can I help my customer more? So, number one thing you do, you've got to praise your competitors. Please do this. If they bring up your competitors, don't jump, oh shit, far out. No, but we're different this way. Praise them. No, I know, they're great that way. And talk them up, talk them up, talk them up. And what happens, you start to deflate what the customer believes about your competitors. The next thing you want to do is then you want to talk about how you're different, straight after you've spoken about the positives. Okay, that's one strategy. So you acknowledge, then you move on and you talk about how you're different. The next way you can do it is you ask, hey, it's great you're shopping around. What's great about your competitors? Ask them, what's great? Oh, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. Okay, what could be improved about their product? And they'll tell you all the improvements. Then what do you sell to? Improvements. I've never lost business over a competitor because every single time I always ask, what could be improved? And the customer's always tell you. Does that answer your question? Any other questions? Yes?
How do you go about when you're in a small startup, have a limited number of people and perhaps no natural sales talent in there?
Okay.
What's
First thing. Number one thing, sorry to cut you off. Everybody is a salesperson. Everybody is a salesperson.
You're always selling yourself, aren't you?
You're always selling yourself.
Let's say people that they all need a considerable amount of training. What is some of the, apart from what we've just seen now, when you're actually in the business, what sort of ways do you train them? Do you listen to them on the phone calls to get them to do role playing?
It's good. I love to listen to how they want to be trained. Some of my team members hate it when I listen. They really bug it. Role play is great. Be mindful when you role play. It's going to sound 5% more fake because you're role playing. So I would always encourage phone calls and listening to recording because that's how it works. Debriefs. Who has a sales team in their business right now? Okay, cool. Debriefs are the quickest way that you can find out how somebody went to sales appointment. Because what they do, they just unload. This is what happened, and you can pick up the inconsistencies. So that's what I'd advise first, debriefs and recordings. And numbers. You've got to know your sales numbers. If someone's close rate is 30%, and they tell you, yeah, but it's because of this and it's because of that, there's no running away from the numbers. Yeah, well, there's something you're doing wrong. Does that make sense? Yep.
During a long-term sales process, if you're offering, for example, a high-quality product, it's usually a longer sales process because the product is more expensive.
Yes.
If people are struggling to afford your product, how long is the approach to a lead from your perspective? How often are you going to approach a lead before you title it as burned or not interested?
Yeah. Great question. I think it's based on...
Excuse me, in which way would you use?
Which way? So first, I think the most important thing is you've got to know what objections will always come up. and in what order. Typically you'll have, I'm not ready yet, or we can't afford it yet, or I need to speak to the decision maker. So I would always map out and I'd reverse engineer it. So here's a purchase, this objection will pop up, that, and you kind of draw out a map. I don't believe there's too many touch points that you can have. One thing that I teach my clients, if you add another touch point, it actually adds to your credibility and your scarcity. There's another thing, there's another appointment. What's this one? I'd always frame it as the next stage, you're adding even more value. It's not just you're not just being moved along a process. So, for example, with my sales consulting business, the one I'm doing now, everyone here, by the way, there'll be another process. There'll be another step, just letting you know. So that is framed around value. So every step that I have in my business, there is some form of value. If you have an objection at, let's say, stage 3, base the value around that objection. So if it's, let's say, decision maker, your value add would be based around having the decision makers there. If it's based around price, base it around price, base that stage around price, like that you're gonna pretty much lay out plans. That would be the way I would approach it if I was selling something high end. I've sold products up to 25,000, 30K, and typically the processes were all based around the objections. We just add value on top of it. Yes?
So what kind of value type of equipment are you selling?
Project up to 10 million.
Okay. Maybe business case type something?
Software development.
Huh?
Software development.
Yeah. So you finally the guy with the decision-making authority, the money you need, he has to sell that within his company because he's going to look like a hero. So you ask him how he's going to sell it within the company and make him look like a hero. So when they're holding back, he said it's expensive, you help him, you just sell it within his organization because you're no longer selling to him, you're selling to the whole organization.
Beautiful.
For me, it's the biggest problem to not approach too often. From a European perspective, I've realized that the Australian market is more open to a frequent approach. But I think it's from a European perspective, I'm mostly scared of approaching too often with a short amount of time. I'm used to wait, for example, 1, 2, 3 weeks before the next approach, and I've seen a lot of salespersons here in Australia following up every 2-3 days.
Yes.
And I think it's way too often for my business.
Have you tested it?
Yeah.
And how do your customers respond based on when you would follow up?
It's very hard to add every time a new value, and if you are not adding value, just leave it away.
Yeah. The higher the value, they've got all sorts of other internal processes to go through. Yeah, I've sold $10 million systems as well, so I know exactly what you're going. They have to go through all sorts of hoops, and they've got to put a business case together, justify it, present to organisations.
But that takes time.
I know it does take time. We, you know, are in 3 year selling cycle. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you do have to at some stage though. You're going to have to work out what the client is. They'll never buy. They'll try and find somewhere else. But yeah, you have
And
to
how
recognise.
often are you following up on such?
I'm not in that market anymore. I'm a lot smaller, but you can have a 3 year sales cycle. And you accept that.
Yeah. So just answer that. Are you offering any line budget in their budget? That's not currently in their budget for a year. So you're coming in and asking to get more money than that's in their budget. That's a big process for internal companies just to get their head around. It's just that you line item on the budget.
You got to know their budget before you come in, and you've got to. So I think what you were speaking about there, how they've got all these different hoops to jump through, I think that's fantastic. That comes back to knowing what objections they would have at each single stage. And there's nothing wrong with having a long long sales cycle. It's just knowing your market.
I mean, if you're saying something $20,000 here, contacting somebody for 2 days is acceptable. But 10 million, I just think
It takes
it's
time. It takes time. Just on the fear aspect, that can be dealt with. Don't be scared to lose business. This is the number one thing that I believe stops salespeople. Everyone is so scared that if you lose a lead or you lose a potential deal, that the world's gonna end and there won't be any other business to gain. Get out of scarcity, guys. Please do that. I really, really plead you to get out of scarcity. And the number one way you get out of scarcity is you stop thinking you've gained something when you sell. I know that sounds contradictory. When you gain something when you're selling, and you're pumping yourself up going, yeah, I'm champion, blah, 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 blah. Right? The minute that happens, you've created a fear of losing. So whenever I gain something, whenever I gain a sale, I'm not jumping up and down because I know the next day I could have nothing. Everything's the same, everything's balanced. There's benefits and drawbacks. I could sign up a client, I could get a new client on whatever program it was. They might be a pain in the ass. Like, there's going to be drawbacks to it. Or I could have a shit hot sales appointment and I don't get it, but it was a great sales appointment. So that would be my number one piece of advice if you're fearful. Don't think that it's going to be different when you do get the deals. Any other questions?
Have you been involved with selling internationally or to
Yes.
particular people with
Yep.
different language or different cultures?
Yes. So, what would be your question around that?
Well, I mean, I imagine the approach would be quite different.
Very different. If you're selling to people with a language barrier, draw it up and make it very, very simple for them to understand. That would be my number one piece of advice, and don't give them too much information because they're already kind of don't really understand you. But if you can just put it down in dot points and ask for a lot of feedback as you go, it's usually good.
I think a lot of the biggest events when I'm bringing on diversity and understanding people from different cultures and different backgrounds and so forth, and educating their staff on that so they have different impact.
A lot of real estate agents now are doing that. A lot of people in the education companies I've worked for who are doing that too. It's not uncommon, but I would always draw it out. Might take one more question.
What's your preferred method of prospecting into larger businesses where you can't necessarily get straight through to decision
Question.
maker?
I haven't done much B2B selling. B2C, I will talk about that. B2C events like this, cold calling. B2B, I'm always a fan of cold calling. You give me a phone and a list of leads, I'll call. I love it. A bit crazy like that, but that's me. And blogging. Blogging's been really effective like that. I've spoken to many people who have been really successful in the long run with great blogs, very informative, especially for B2B selling. That would be lead gen. Just getting out to networking, really. Like, you can go to some fantastic networking events these days, meet some really influential people, and it just starts the relationship. So you can have something later. Yes.
So we do a fair bit of that.
Yep.
And basically what we start with is going in a meeting with one of the salespeople or one of the delivery people.
Yep.
So we can get to understand the organisation a bit more, so we've got more value to add once we get to talk to someone.
Yep.
So if I want to go talk to the CIO, I want to speak to someone else first, work out what's going on within the organisation. So when I go to the CIO, I know things about the organisation that they don't.
Yes.
And all of a sudden I've got value to add to them, so they want to meet to find
And
out
it's just
what's going
going
on
through,
within the organisation.
going through each stage. Yeah, that's good. So I would just, again, it's very important to reverse engineer what you want to happen. If you can do that, then your process is going to be really tight. All right.
So let's say you are not a really, really good salesperson.
Yeah.
You have the idea and you know how to sort of run your business.
Yes.
So let's say you're a startup, you cannot afford, a lot of
Come talk to me after.
Oh.
We've really gone over time. So guys, look, first off, thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate your attention. Up the back, I've got some forms there for some free sales consults. Particularly, this is for people who are going to be doing information-based selling. If you've got a sales team and you're building a new process, that's typically what I'll specialise in. If you're having blockages with your own mind and you're not sure why you're getting stuck on certain objections, I would highly recommend to go and just fill out your details. It's in the black folder, there's 2 pens up the back, and I'll give you a call. We'll be able to find what's stopping you, and we'll be able to turn that around and talk about some further options from there. But apart from that, guys, thank you for having me, and I wish you all the best.
Yeah, thanks, Hal. Thanks, Jordan. That was really good. I learned a lot. And I can tell you that Jordan will be helping us to grow Silicon Beach around Australia. So you got a new job, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So like I said, just Google Melbourne Silicon Beach, and hope to see you guys at the July networking night. See, that's networking. You can do things, and there are investors coming in, and even if they don't, now I videoed this session here. It'll go up on Silicon News, and the pictures, we have 90-second pictures. You can see how it is done, and anyone can put your hand up and do a pitch. Just jump up and do just for practicing. There are no judges, it's not Shark Tank, it's just practice, and the more you pitch, you get better at it. So come and check us out on the 6th of July. You can go to the meetup page, and yeah, we'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.